Hi everyone, Jon Mitchell here, Mayor of New Bedford, and this is another installment of the Mayor's Weekly Update. So I want to talk about Arpa Investments this week. Arpa, just to remind everybody, stands for the American Rescue Act Plan. New Bedford received some $82 million in Arpa funding from the federal government last year. We put together a plan to invest those funds in areas like small businesses, open spaces, housing, and many other things to really help us launch out of the pandemic. And we made a series of announcements this week about some of those investments, and I want to share them with you. So the first one has to do with cultural facilities. These are the performing arts places, the galleries, and ethnic cultural facilities around the city. There are many of them, many in the downtown, of course, but many across the city that draw in visitors. And over the course of the pandemic, many of them suffered. They didn't have the visitation that they ordinarily get, and that hurt their finances. We're going to be, we announced this week that we are offering up funding, matching funding, to help them build their facilities and really put themselves in a stronger position after the pandemic than before. So we look forward to advancing on that front. The second thing that I wanted to mention is that we announced funding for artists. Artists in the city, independent artists, are small businesses in themselves. Again, many of them took it on the chin during the pandemic. We want to make sure that they're getting the funding they need to create what they create and add a whole lot of vibrancy to the city. And it's some of what they create is visual, things they paint, things they sculpt, but also things they perform. So it's performance art as well. And so we have our arts director, Margot Saulnier, who will be overseeing that work, and it all is based on the city's Arts and Culture Fund, which fund and Arts and Cultural Plan that we established a few years ago. So we look forward to seeing that put into place. The other thing I wanted to mention too this week is that we announced funding for community development block grant programs. We use these programs every year for a variety of things, including support for homelessness as well as housing. This year, we're also funding a couple of particular projects. One is at the Boys and Girls Club. Over there, we're going to be doing some work on that facility using arts funding. Boys and girls using CDBG funds. The Boys and Girls Club serves so many youth in the city and has been doing it for so long, and it's a great place to support with city-owned funds. The second thing that we're going to be investing in will be the West Beach Bathhouse, which we need to get refurbished so that that can serve all of its purposes. It's been many decades since that has been fixed up. This is all subject to city council approval. We've been working with councils to make sure that to work with them so that we can all get on the same page. And we look forward to advancing on those projects as soon as we can. One last set of investments that I wanted to mention are the business facade projects that we have going. We announced a few weeks ago a program in which we would match 75% of the project's cost up to $40,000 for small businesses in all parts of the city, or at least in those parts of the city that are part of so-called qualified census tracts. That's where the focus of our funding will go. We got some feedback both from city councils as well as a number of business support organizations that the match requirement may have been a little bit onerous on some businesses. So we made some changes that we announced this week, and I want all the small businesses out there to know this, that the first $10,000 of the program, if you are eligible, will be match free. So in other words, if you have whatever it is, so you have to put new doors and windows on the front of your store, and that costs $9,000. Well, you can, if you are otherwise eligible, you can get a grant for that amount. And so the idea here is really to get small businesses back on their feet, but also to enliven neighborhoods, because where businesses look good and present themselves well to the neighborhood, the better off everybody is. It adds to neighborhood stability and vibrancy, and good things happen when those things are in place. So we look forward to that. So I know this has been a lot, but I want to make sure that everybody understood that the ARPA funds are being invested with precision, with an expectation that others will be putting money into it. And what it's setting up, frankly, is that the city is in a good position to emerge strongly from the pandemic, and that's what we're working toward for the benefit of everybody. So that's all I have for this week. We will see you next week. Thank you.